Welcome everyone to our Joy Stream today. I'm really excited about our topic. As for those of you who have been listening, you're noticing a common theme in our Pastor Weekly's weekly times, and it's really talking about equipping you with joy and strong, joyful relational skills. And these will continue to make more sense as we go along and apply these to our lives and our ministries and our leadership and our families, our marriages. And so for those of you who are new, I trust that you're going to enjoy what we have in store for you today as well. I run a training called Thrive, and I'm the Assistant Director for Shepherd's House under Dr. Jim Wilder. And we are very purposeful and strategic about equipping leaders with the skills to thrive, which includes growing a lot of relational joy. So we're going to talk a little bit more about relational joy and what that is today. And relational joy is a brain skill, actually a relational skill we call shared joy, and that means that our faces light up when we see other people, and our voice tones convey that I am really glad to be with you. And we know relational joy when we feel like someone is the sparkle in our eyes, or we're the sparkle in someone else's eyes. And joy is one of those things that when God created us, He wired us for joy. And so obviously relational joy is a very important thing in God's mind, because when you look at how we're designed, joy is the wind in our sails. It's the fuel in our gas tank, so to speak, relationally. We need joy. And when our joy levels start to drop, that's not a good thing. And we'll look at that a little bit more later. And one of the expressions of joy is what we call skill 4, and that's creating appreciation. And so our healthy minds are full of appreciation. And when we start to share appreciation around us, we create belonging. And one of the things I really like about appreciation is it's one of God's gifts to kind of dissolve stress and actually stress hormones. When we are high on appreciation, it basically resets our nervous systems, and it's one of the natural ways to reduce anxiety and really counteract stress hormones. There's all kinds of fascinating things there, but basically appreciation is when we're sharing our joy and highlighting qualities that we appreciate about our spouse or our coworkers. We want to basically use joy and create appreciation everywhere we go, especially in our families and our ministries. So let's look a little bit more about joy. One of the things I discover when I'm working with leadership teams and we talk about joy is joy is one of those things we kind of tend to undervalue. We don't fully understand what's so big about joy. I mean, we know at some level joy is important. You read about joy in Scripture, and there's all kinds of interesting references to joy, but when I sit down and talk to people about joy, it's like, well, why do I really need joy? I mean, I've got integrity. I'm a hard worker. I love God, but where does joy fit into this whole picture to help us be the people that God's created us to be? And so I find joy is often just kind of undervalued, or it's also misunderstood. If I buy a new car, I might think that that's joy. But it's not, buying a new car is not a relational interaction with other human beings or even with God. And so we don't fully understand what this joy thing is all about. And so one of my purposes for these joy streams is actually to really kind of shine the light on the importance of joy and really help people understand what it is and how joy will transform your life, your ministry, and your marriage and your family. And we also tend to dismiss our need for joy, basically just because we don't understand what it's all about. Why do I need joy? I eat my vegetables every day. I go to work early, and sometimes I stay late. And what's the big deal with joy? Why is this something I should be concerned about propagating to my family or the people that I serve? And as you're just going to discover through our times here, is really joy is what makes life meaningful and makes the hard times manageable. And we sometimes forget how good joy feels until we experience a good joyful moment, a good joyful interaction, and we're quickly reminded why joy is so important, especially when joy levels sink. and we tend to neglect what matters most. I often hear this, especially when I work with leaders who are in their 80s or their 90s. As they review their lives, they realize there's a lot of important things that they missed, or they wish they would have spent more time with their children or their grandchildren or their family, and they wish they would have done things a certain way that's different from what they did. And when it comes to joy, the really exciting thing about growing joy with our people, with our families, and our those that we're serving is it keeps what's important in the front of our minds. And we also tend to distract our need for joy, which is not helpful. We really can. There's very easy, practical ways to grow joy, and that's also what our special guest Jim Wilder is going to talk about today. And so we can replace true joy. What tends to happen is when I'm not growing the authentic, genuine joy, I tend to find substitutes, and they're artificial substitutes to kind of raise these dopamine levels in my body. And so maybe I keep myself busy. I work hard, and I keep myself kind of I live to work and I work to live. And I'm not really getting the good relational joy that is what I need. Or we might minimize joy. So one of the conclusions I want us to think about today is low joy is really not good for us as leaders, nor is it good for our marriages. When our joy levels drop, you can predictably expect there to be problems. And I think it's safe to say that most of the problems I encounter with leaders is the result of low joy. And there's all kinds of ways that can be expressed. But ultimately, the plane goes down, and when the plane goes down too soon, that's not good. So low joy can actually turn to high joy with a little bit of practice and some strategic training, which is really what we're all about here at Thrive and Shepherd's House, is really to help equip people to increase their joy. And what we're going to look at now is how to increase your joy at home. So I want to take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Jim Wilder, who's the director for Shepherd's House, who's going to tell us about joy and having a 3-minute solution to come home to a smile each night.
Hi, Chris. Good to be with you today.
Thank you. Welcome.
Yes, of course, this topic of joy is dear to my heart. I can remember basically what the whole counseling field and even the consulting with pastors field was like before we started to pay attention to joy. And it was all communication based. It was, how do you say the right things and, in the right way. And communication is very important. It's good to be clear about what we're doing. But when joy is missing, communication goes flat. I guess joy is that big flavor enhancer for everything about us. And you were mentioning that it was pretty much the cause of most of the train wrecks that we run into when a pastor or a leader runs low on joy. And I'd have to agree with you on that. So the way that turns into a train wreck is often in terms of burnout or some kind of depression on the pastor's side. But then in that weakened condition, you begin to discover joy someplace other than home. And that's really where the danger starts. When somebody is bringing you more joy than your ministry, more joy than your home, more joy than your wife, more joy than your children, more joy than your husband, that's when people begin to do things they would never believe they would do otherwise. So on the flip side of it, I know many times when I've tried to have a good day and I realized that when I left home that morning, my wife and I weren't getting along. For some reason or other, Kitty and I weren't seeing eye to eye. And there's a just general sense of strain throughout the whole day. So there's this 3-minute solution to come home to a smile every night is actually focused on your last 3 minutes before you leave home in the morning. So how you leave things is going to make a big difference. And you and I were talking, Chris, about how there's some differences between men and women in
Yes.
terms of how that all works. Um, Women tend to want to have relational moments right at the end, a time to connect, where men typically are thinking about tasks and what to get done. So what we came up with in terms of a 3-minute solution was actually going to be something that we thought would help both men and women. So regardless of whether you're a man who's a pastor and going to work, or a woman who's going in and you're the pastor, whichever way you're leaving the home, we still want you to consider these 3 options together. So the first thing we would like you to do is to think of this as a 1 minute of appreciation. This is really what it takes to get our relational circuits on. It's a moment of sitting down and just appreciating something about your partner, your home, your life, your children, something that you share together that you can draw to people's attention. So it can be something as simple as appreciating breakfast, or the way their hair turned out, or any kind of simple well, often even just flavors or views. Like right now, I could look out the window and share with my wife the way that our trees are blossoming out here in California, that you're getting snow back there, but you might even be able to enjoy, watching the snow fall together. The point is that you are connecting in some way that is creating appreciation for the people around you. And to talk about that, to share that, to bring that to people's mind. We like to appreciate qualities in people as well, so to be able to say to somebody, here are the things that I really like about you. Here are the reasons I'm glad that we're married. These are the reasons that I'm glad we're sharing life. All of those are things that you prepare for, and then you share them in 1 minute. The second minute is a minute of being quiet. This is one that's surprisingly meaningful for men. Men really like the fact that someone relaxes around them. It's one of the things that makes men feel attractive, important, significant. Just the fact that you would have a moment of quiet together. So usually when men talk, especially in the morning when you're busy, we talk about the business that needs to be taken care of. So if I'm talking to my wife, I'm telling her, here's what I need to do or take care of during the day. And if she's telling me something, I tend to read it that same kind of way. Here's what you want me to be paying attention to. But quiet, especially a cuddly, kind of cozy, warm, we're just quiet together moment, is a time when it's real clear that it isn't just about doing business. It's just about spending some time together. I'm just glad to be with you, and just let that feeling of relaxing and sharing a little coziness soak in for a minute. It's amazing how long a minute seems to be when you're trying to do a 3-minute time together in the morning. And then the third thing is 1 minute of blessing. This is where you would actually pray for your partner's day. You would ask God to be with them, and where you could remember the significant things that are coming up for them. So here we have it, 1 minute of just appreciating the life that you share, 1 minute of quiet, just being glad to be together and rest in a cozy way, and 1 minute of blessing them for their day. And the chances are very good that as you leave with those 3 things in place, your partner will be thinking happy and joyful thoughts about you throughout the day, so that when you come home, the chances that you're going to be greeted by joy and smile and a welcome home are much, much higher. Now it might turn out that you forget to do that, so we've got A little option for you if you miss in the morning to have an opportunity. You have a chance to prepare on your way home. This also heightens your chance of being received joyfully. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to turn all those things around on you. So we want to have you have a moment of quiet. Take one moment just to quiet down, even when you park your car in your driveway. Before you run right into the house, just take one moment to quiet so that you have your own relational circuits on, and you arrive home not flustered and trying to check all the last minute emails or phone messages or stuff like that. Just 1 minute of quiet for yourself. Next thing we want you to do is to think about your day and think about something that you have appreciated throughout the day that will bring you some appreciation. It's also something you might be able to share with your partner, but now that you're quiet, you want to be able to be in that same sense of appreciation before you're walking in the door. And then third, we want to have you have a moment where God will bless you and talk with Jesus about your family. What is it you want me to know today? So we're asking Jesus actually now as I'm arriving home, what do you want me to be aware of with my family so that I arrive home with God at my side? And these three things are basically what you would have given as gifts in the morning, but in the having forgotten them, this is a way to prepare yourself. And it's not a bad thing to do even if you did have the blessing and appreciation and quiet in the morning. That still helps you be in the mood to arrive home ready for it to be a relational experience. So those, Chris, are the things that I'm suggesting that are a good way to set up your day in order to heighten the amount of joy you're going to have at home, both when you leave and when you come home.
Very good. Thank you. I would suspect many of our listeners are thinking, but it sounds so easy. And I want to say it is, and it is easy when you turn off your phone for a few minutes and, and just write yourself a note if you have to and stick it on your car seat to practice these things before you walk through that front door. And what I thought would be really helpful for us today is to actually practice a little bit of this now so that we can interact together. And so let's think about this right now. What things are you thankful for? And so normally I have people come up with three, but what comes to your mind right now when you think about today as I sit here? What am I thankful for? Let's practice.
So
those of you with, yeah.
I was going to say, if you know what you're thankful for, go ahead and raise your hand and I'll unmute you so you can share with us.
What are you thankful for today? You could even write a little note into Denny. She can read it. What comes to your mind when you start thinking about this? What am I thankful for? Maybe it's people.
Protection from severe weather, somebody said.
Yes, there you go.
Yep.
All right. What else are we thankful for?
The beautiful blue sky and sunshine from Teresa.
All right, that's a good one.
Pamela is thankful for her friend Carolyn.
Good.
Catherine says, my husband and all the hard work he does. Terry is thankful for Jim Wilder.
Good.
Lynn is thankful. I am burping my 7th grandchild, I'm assuming that is. Yep.
Yes. Good. What else comes to our mind? What else are we thankful for today?
Dana is thankful for the wisdom God has given his wife. He's thankful for good friends that God has given him.
Good.
Teresa is thankful for her beautiful 19-month-old grandson.
Ah, amen.
Pamela is thankful for the life model and the joy she's learning about. Sandra is thankful for her friend Merle. Catherine is thankful for her health. I'm thankful for my new puppy.
Yes. bundle of joy.
Lewis says, oh, we had a cancellation. Can I listen today? I'll have to talk with him privately. Sorry.
Yeah.
Bonnie, so happy my husband is listening with her today.
Good. I got some
While I
good ones.
while I was preparing this morning, Kitty went out and got the groceries and the soup and brought them all home and taking care of things around the house, and that just gives me a sense of thankfulness just for the care that she's put into this day.
Yes.
Hoka is thankful for me and my great help. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes. Good. So as we start thinking about these things, we should start to feel a little lighter. We should start feeling this appreciation that I introduced earlier in our session here. We start thinking about what are the things that we're thankful for. I'm hearing a lot of good relational things. I'm hearing some for God's protection, God's provision. As I lead this time, I also feel a deep appreciation for my wife, Jen, who's really been very diligent to take care of our two young boys. It's a very full, busy, exciting time in our family with two young children, but she just delights over them, and I love watching her face light up when they interact with her. I just feel that nice warmth in my stomach, and I feel my shoulders relax just thinking about this one. All right. Let's move on to the next one. So what can you appreciate about your spouse, and if you have children, your children, or if you're not married, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a close friend. So what comes to your mind here? We've already mentioned a few things. What else? What else can you appreciate specifically about family or even friends? Let's put some of those out there.
Just like before, you can type them in and I'll read them, or if you want to speak out loud, go ahead and raise your hand and I'll unmute you. Zane says he appreciates the hard work in cutting firewood for this winter storm.
Ah. All right.
So the husband, I guess, was cutting the firewood. Mm-hmm. Wendy said that. There we go.
Yep. Yep. Good. That's a good one there. Okay.
Trudy says her husband's encouragement and faithfulness.
Good.
Hoka, I'm going to unmute you.
This is actually Joel.
I'm sorry.
Cousin. But I'm just thankful because every day when I come home from work, my wife and my 7-month-old baby receive me with the most beautiful smile.
Ah, wonderful. Thank you.
All right. Catherine says she's appreciating her husband's understanding. Pamela appreciates her friend Chris, who is leading their group on Saturday. Enjoy building.
Good.
Teresa, that her husband is willing to work through the life model with her. Sandra says her friend's joy and hunger for more of the Lord.
Good. I have a particular picture in my office of Jesus being the Good Shepherd, and he has this little sheep standing next to him, actually a little lamb, and off in the distance are some wolves kind of watching, and Jesus is kind of this protector over this little lamb, and Matthew, our oldest son, loves this picture, and he always talks about Jesus being right here with him, and so anytime he gets afraid or something makes him nervous, he'll talk to Jesus being the Good Shepherd with his staff that's right here with us. And so I really appreciate the reminder that frequently comes out of his mouth about how God is tenderly with us, looking out for us and caring for our needs.
Terry just typed in she appreciates her husband's prayer support and her children's smiles.
Nice. Some good appreciation going. All right. So let's, as we start thinking about appreciation and finding important things that we're thankful for, appreciating those who are closest to us, what do you notice as you start to contemplate these things? As I mentioned earlier, I notice my stomach, this warm, nice, fuzzy feeling in my stomach and my shoulders. What do you notice?
Yeah, Lynn says she feels warm.
Good. All right. What else comes to your mind?
I
Dana,
notice a desire to want to be with people.
Yes.
When I'm thinking about them, it's like, yeah, I want to be by them.
we've got a couple. Dana noticed a lightness in his chest. Trudy says security. Terry says she feels blessed. Catherine, a settledness inside. I like that word.
That's a good one.
Pamela feels relaxed. And Lewis, I'm not sure. I feel a smile inside. Just got really quiet. Chris, are you there? Jim, are you there?
Oh yes, I'm still here. Maybe we lost Chris. So
Chris, did you accidentally mute yourself again?
never know if that big storm in the Midwest might have taken him out right there.
Ah,
Yeah. But anyway, if he could update his screen, he would tell you that joy grows even more when we share and express these things. So there's nothing better than telling other people about the appreciation experience that we're having. And some of you may actually have your partner there so that they can see that. But this idea of sharing appreciation between us is just a really important contribution to building joy at home. And so we want you to begin to notice these things because they're little indicators that help us to notice that the joy is growing in our home. So we had a question here, which we ask you about. How do you notice when joy is growing in your home? What are the little indicators that you tell and you look for that tell you that you're getting a nice joy response?
so you might want to repeat that question since we can't do the slide.
Can't really do the slide. Yes. How do you notice that joy is growing around you? What are the things that happen? I mean, part of it, we have this warm and feeling inside, this lightness, the smiles that we have. But, really, the reason we're asking this is we really want you to pay attention. Am I getting joy growing around me at home? Because if not, there are things we can do. And sometimes we just plain get busy and forget. So what are the signs that you are looking for when joy is growing in your house?
Helen just said more eye contact. I would agree with
More eye
that.
contact. Good.
More smiles from Lynn. More smiles and singing from Terry. Peace. A relaxation in the atmosphere. More laughter. Less strife. And more honor expressed. Chris says he's back. Chris, you want to just jump right in there? Jim kind of took over for you. He might not be able to talk yet.
Sort of sounds that way.
Yeah, I'm back.
there
Sorry,
you are.
everybody. My My computer just lost all internet connection there for a minute, but I'm back in my joy.
Well, good. We're still talking about joy, how we recognize it around our house. Mary's saying more touch, and Lewis said quieter feeling in the house. So that's true about more touch. We, reach out and touch someone's hand a little bit more often, or.
Good.
So we thought we're about getting up to the Joyce starting suggestions that we have, so that now that we're noticing when we get this joy response, how could we go about starting some joy, or amping it up a little bit?
All right.
That's Chris.
Well, let's take this to that level of, now that we're practicing it and we're sharing it. The goal here is to keep the joy going and growing, and one of the ways that we keep that joy increasing within our networks, this occurs when we tell our joy stories. And so when I walk through that door when I get home from work, I start sharing some joy stories from my day, and I invite my wife and my children to also talk about their day and what are the things they appreciate. And so we practice sharing our joy through our stories, and these are authentic stories where we let our faces light up when we're thinking about joy, and when we're greeting people, and when we're saying hi, and our face is the canvas that people see. And so you'll notice when you start really letting your face light up as you're interacting with people, as you're greeting people, you'll notice their face light up. And I love to practice this when I'm interacting with people, whether it's a grocery store or at work, wherever it is. You'll notice this joy is contagious. And we also want to do everything we can to end our interactions on a positive note. And that means that, we say things like "I love you" to our spouse, and we frequently remind our spouses how much we love them, and our children. We don't take these things for granted. We don't want to take these things for granted. We want to verbalize these thoughts that come to mind. And we also practice returning to joy from moments that we fail to bring joy. And that means if we do something that hurts someone, we practice saying "I'm sorry." And again, it sounds so easy. But we don't want to underestimate how powerful these simple things can be to keep those joy levels high. And I find for Jen and I, what's helpful is that we protect some time, even if it's 15 minutes a day, which we talked about on our previous joy stream. It's amazing to me how meaningful just a few minutes of sharing some joy stories and being glad to be together. Jim gave us 3 minutes of something we can do to grow the joy levels, and what a difference it makes. I find that when I practice this with Jen, it lightens her mood. I see her face light up, and when she practices this with me, we feel seen, we feel appreciated, we feel loved, and we also respond to one another tenderly when we experience weakness. And this really is a key to keep our joy levels high. And that means if my wife is overwhelmed and having a hard time, honey, what can I do to help? I'm here. I want to help you. Do you need prayer? Do you just need a moment of quiet? Otherwise, if I respond feeling mad at her because she's overwhelmed, getting frustrated, getting short, those are the kinds of moments that's going to quickly diminish our joy, and that's not something we want to do. And so it helps as we start to think about what's on my face. What am I wearing? What do people see? Is it I'm overwhelmed, so I'm looking anxious? What is on my face, and what's my presence convey? And it's really fun to practice this if you have children, because you can see so clearly how a little bit of joy goes a long way. And so if I see my son and my face just lights up, and I say, "Hello, little guy," and I pick him up, and there's a joy on my face, and my voice is conveying, "I'm really glad to be with you right now." And you can just see the excitement, and I practice this with my wife, and again, it creates the kind of atmosphere where people feel like they can be themselves and let down their guard and keep those joy levels high. And another practical suggestion is the more that you can remember joy and talk about joy and share joy, you're going to find that this all becomes, this all feels normal and natural. At first it can feel a little clunky because we're just, some of us, this is new, this is foreign, we're not used to doing this. And I've had a lot of fun with our small group, introducing the need for joy, and just it's been fun to watch as they start practicing these things. It's becoming more and more natural for them, and that's what you'll discover when you start to proactively grow joy, share joy, talk about joy, feeling joy, and of course life is not always peachy, and so from the moments where there's pain and there's upset and there's frustration and there's conflict, the goal is always to get back to joy. And when you practice this on the good days, you're going to find that these things are available on the hard days. But if Jen and I don't practice these, growing our own joy when times are good, it's really not going to be there when times are hard. And so we find the more we do this, these tools and this joy is available when things are hard. So what do I appreciate about my family? And I verbalize those things. I share them, and I let my face light up. And then, of course, it doesn't take long to kind of reach your peak or your max where you need to rest, you need to catch your breath. And as Jim mentioned earlier, that quiet time is so important. I find a clear difference between Jen and I is she loves the interaction, and she can interact much more than I can. What I find is I hit that need for rest, and so I'll say things like, honey, let's just take a moment and sit here and cuddle. Let's sit here and enjoy each other. Let's just take a moment and catch our breath. And if the children are high energy, we'll just, okay, time to catch our breath. That's kind of our little our little word that everybody around here knows. Okay, it's time for some quiet. And as we quiet, what you find is you feel refreshed. You feel restored. Then you're ready to build more joy. We call that where everything just feels like it's right where it needs to be. I wouldn't change a thing. We call that shalom. And so after a little bit of rest, you're ready for more fun. You're ready for more joy. But we need the moment of rest. Otherwise, we quickly can overwhelm one another. We don't want to do that. So,
well, Chris, let me go back
yes.
a minute to just protecting the time business, because often when I first start to rest, all I discover is that I'm tired. So, this business of protecting a little time together, I understand that when you wanted to protect some time with Jen, that involved doing something with your phone, right?
Yes, I have to turn my phone off. I confess that I like to check emails, I like to check the weather, I like to check the news, and it's all at my fingertips. And this is one of the biggest joy robbers in our family, is when Daddy's distracted with the phone. So honestly, I have to turn the thing off. I have to put it in another room so that I am not tempted to just automatically pick it up and check on something.
And I thought it'd be interesting just for our pastors also to think about what is it that you actually would have to do to protect some time when you get home, because there's just an infinite number of things looking for our time and attention. So I just want to put that out as a question. When you're thinking about protecting time, what does that mean? What would you actually have to do to protect some time to build joy at home?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It's a complicated thing, because if you get home too tired, you can protect time, but you'll just fall asleep. I remember Ed Corey and I often go around teaching classes and with college students, and when we start to have them quiet a little bit so they can build joy, it's just almost hilarious to watch them all passing out on their desks, because they're just so tired.
Yeah.
So protecting time is not the easiest thing around.
No.
You got anything for us there, Denny? Anyone bringing in some ideas? what they would need to do to protect time?
Mm-hmm.
No.
What would that look like? Yeah, I have to turn off my...
Not yet.
All right. All right. Well, hopefully that gets people thinking a little bit. What does that look like for you? Maybe it's a television.
All right, Lynn has to turn off her computer.
All right, computer. Yeah, there can be a lot of distractions that will interrupt and intrude in our joy building and our rest.
Or Lynn wants to turn on praise music.
Oh, okay.
Good.
I'm kind of the same way. Putting the praise music on turns my RCs on.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Catherine has to turn off that TV.
Yep. Good. Yeah, we can't stress this one enough. It really is. If there are distractions that are familiar to you, you can safely predict those distractions will pop up during moments you're either trying to rest with others or you're trying to grow your joy with others.
Lewis says, don't overschedule my evenings.
Yeah.
Trudy says, have a cup of tea to stay more alert.
Good. Good.
Joel says, we have to make it part of our evening routine and plan for it.
Nice.
I find that Kitty has enough little routines, things to keep her busy that I often have to just let her know that I want to protect some time so that she protects it too. Otherwise, she will have something to keep her busy throughout the evening, and so it almost requires a mutual effort over at our house to have protected time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Teresa says it's important to turn off negative thinking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good.
Kitty and I also have the habit of having a little notepad next to us, so when we're actually trying to have some time together, all of these things that will come to our mind that we're supposed to take care of, we just write them on a notepad and keep from being distracted for the next 15 or 20 minutes, because otherwise I just think of all of the things I wanted to write in the next chapter, or just they're helpful thoughts, but this isn't the right time for them.
Yes.
All right.
Good.
Pamela's asking, what is the question again?
How do we protect our time? What, in other words, is there anything we can do to protect our time? What are some of our top distractions that will interrupt our rest and our joy with our loved ones? So that's something to keep in the front of our minds here.
Mary says making it a point to eat together.
Good. Yeah, that's an important one right there. Eating together. It's an important joy opportunity right there. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, good. I'm hoping this will get some of the wheels turning as we think about this, because you can predict that your distractions will come up. And sometimes the measures we have to take are drastic. Like I literally have to put the phone far, far away because I will pick that thing up without even thinking about it. It's such a habit there.
It's funny that you say that, because Sandra just typed in. She needs to make a point to bless on the phone. So
there you go. Okay.
Yeah. Pamela is making sure she doesn't isolate from others, so they're doing that.
Good. All right. So we're starting to give this some thought. So here's where we start thinking about continually applying this and putting this into action. Is joy starts with you, and that means that you can set the tone in your home, at work, with your staff, with the people that you encounter, the people that you interact with. It's remarkable how much of a difference joy makes as you start to experience joy, you spread the joy, and you also will notice that joy is contagious. It grows, and it gives us strength. The more joy that we are proactively growing in our lives, it really does give us strength under those hard times, and so we find that we're sustained. It's been fun to watch how the difference for Jen and I, for example, when we've had just various challenges, especially with sleep with both of our boys, and it's amazing how grumpy one can be when I don't get sleep, and how hard it can be to stay in relational mode and really work on growing our joy. And what Jen and I have found as we've protected the time and we've started really purposely growing our joy, we handle the upset better. We handle the lack of sleep. We handle things in ways that when we review at the end of the day, we can really be proud and thankful for how for the difference in our interactions and the difference as we interact with our children. Joy surprises you, and that's a good thing. I mean, frankly, all of you are most likely very busy. As pastors, your days are full. You juggle lots and lots of responsibilities. And as Dr. Wilder shared with us today, just 3 minutes of joy is what we're introducing here. 3 minutes. And it's amazing what 3 minutes of joy can do and the kind of difference it makes in your home and in your well-being, in your mood. And so joy will also help keep you in relational mode instead of work mode. I can relate a lot to what Jim shared about having these thoughts just kind of interrupt your focus and your attention and your time. And it is amazing how easy it is to stay in work mode. But I find if I'm building a little bit of joy with my wife and my children, it really does help me to quiet the tension and quiet that to-do list that's floating around in my mind. And you know, I want to be clear here. I'm not saying that all of your problems are going to magically disappear when you start applying it, but what you will notice, everything becomes more manageable. And that's what we want right there. So one of the goals for our time here is really to start getting some momentum going in your life and your ministry for your family. Because basically joy is just good all the way around. When we're growing it within our family and our marriages, and it blesses and protects our ministries. And I find that the more that we can get our friends and our colleagues on board, the greater the momentum that you can build to keep these things going and to keep your joy levels high. And so what I want to suggest and encourage you all is invite your friends. If you have friends, colleagues from your church, your staff, you've got other pastor friends from other churches, invite them to join you on this journey. Invite them to visit us here on our Pastors Weeklies and really start proactively learning and applying this. The more momentum you can get in your sales, so to speak, the farther that this stuff's going to take you. And so I really like to share this myself with my colleagues and a lot of my pastor friends, because I find I think it's safe to say all of my pastor friends are pretty much overwhelmed, and all of them have plenty of room for more joy in their ministry and in their life and in their marriage. And so it's fun when we can get together and actually tell some joy stories and proactively apply this joy training to our lives. I've had many of their family members just comment on the changes that they noticed in their father or in their husband as their wife, and they start practicing these things. And it's been really helpful to kind of get a feel for some of you who've been consistently a part of these joy streams. Last week, Jen and I talked a lot about growing some couple joy, and it was our special Valentine's Day joy stream. And so I really appreciated the comments. Just a few of the comments here gave me a really good idea of how this is coming across. What are you getting from the joy streams? Are you applying some of what we're introducing here? And so some of you have 3 or 4 churches that are represented. You come together as a group and you're going through the joy streams, and that's just what I'm talking about here, to get that momentum going. Some of you are very excited about what you're learning. You're already starting to apply it. You found it helpful to have Jen on and to hear her perspective about growing joy. And even those, some of you who aren't married, still got a lot out of the joy stream. And so I thank you for those comments, and it is very helpful to hear what you're getting as we continue to go forward in these and schedule these and have guest speakers and so forth. And one of the exciting things is if you've missed a previous Joy Stream, you can view them on the Pastor's Weekly page on our thrivetoday.org site. Just go to the bottom of the page and you'll find links for all of our previous Joy Streams. And so please take a look at those if there's any that you missed. And we've got some coming up here in March, which I'm really excited about. We've got David Tackle, who's one of the creators and developers of the Forming module, which is part of the Thriving Recover Your Life. And Dave just has some really good information. He's going to talk to us about the trouble with obedience. And I really want to invite you to be a part of this. It's March 7th, Thursday, from 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And then March 14th, the following Thursday, we're going to have Pastor Daryl Brazel, who's also a pastor and applying the joy training and the life model in his life and ministry. And he's going to talk to us about the zero factor and how shame prevents us from receiving joy. And so 2 upcoming joy streams. I want you to please join us. Mark your calendar. And we've got more coming on the horizon in April and May and June. And all you have to do is visit the Pastor's Weekly page on the Thrive site, and you can see who's coming up on the horizon and when. If you have questions or even more comments, please drop me a note. I'd love to hear from you. And I want to take a moment here. We have a slot open on the horizon as well on April 4th. All right, so April 4th is open. And I wanted to put this out there today. I'm really curious to know, what is it you want to hear? Is there any topic that you're thinking to yourself, I'd really like to hear more about this? Why don't you take a moment? It would really help me if you could type that into Denny. There's a little box, a little message box where you can type in your suggestions. And maybe there's something you want to practice. Maybe you want to practice more appreciation, or, what is it? What are some of the thoughts that you would have, something that really would pique your interest? That would be very helpful for me as I plan.
So you're going to type this into the same place where you've been typing in your questions this whole webinar.
Very good.
Any ideas that you want to hear or practice on the April 4th Joy Stream?
Yeah.
And while people are typing that, I have a question. Can I take that question at this point or not?
Well, let's see. What do we have here? I think we've got about 3 minutes left. And, well, as people type in their questions, why don't you put it out there and let's see if there's a...
Well, right now I have someone saying Emmanuel is one of the topics they'd like to hear about.
Okay.
That's the only one typed in.
Emmanuel, that's a good one right there.
Maturity levels,
Okay.
enabling and returning joy for children.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to understand better how to get unstuck from a state of despair.
Okay. Good. Well, those are all good topics we could do. Okay. Thank you for sending those in.
How to mature through maturity levels, through each maturity level.
All right.
And Lewis, I'm going to send your question on to Jim Wilder to answer.
All right. And as you do this, I want to pose the next question here. As we think about the calendar, I noticed May 9th is Ascension Day, which is preparing us for Easter. And so I really want to be respectful, and I want to see if many of you would still join in for a joy stream on that day, or if it's going to be that busy and full of a day that, frankly, you're just not going to be able to. So would you want a joy stream on May 9th, which is Ascension Day?
So this is a voting poll. You can actually click yes or no on your screen with your mouse.
So yes or no. That'll be very helpful as we start to confirm some schedules. All right, and as we do this, I'm just going to go on down here and just remind everyone of a few resources that I want to encourage you all to check out. One of the exciting resources I appreciate is the Jesus in Mind talks. These are Jim Wilder talking to a Sunday school class, which is applying the joy training, the joy skills, and the life model. I find the munchies are particularly helpful when you start thinking about presenting this to your congregation. It gives you a lot of really good biblical foundation for these things, as well as application, and you get this all with the life model lens, which is a joy-based lens. And so I highly recommend. And I think we're getting close to 30 volumes, Jim. If I'm remembering correctly, we're somewhere around 30 volumes already of these. So we have no shortage of teachings available on a lot of fascinating topics. So I highly recommend this resource.
I think we're up to 28 right now, Chris.
28,
and,
okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So great resource. We're also working, you heard Jim talk a little bit about writing a chapter. We're working on a new book with Ed Corey and Sheila Sutton on The Joy Starts Here. And you're going to hear more about that in upcoming Joy Streams as well. And you can always learn more information about what you're hearing today from the lifemodel.org website. And if you want to really grow your joy, come join us at Thrive. We have 2 Thrive training events coming up this year, May 27th through the 31st in Alberta, beautiful Alberta, Canada. And then here in the States from July 15th through the 19th, Peoria, Illinois. We're going to have the other 5-day training. And this is all about growing joy and learning how to return to joy and how to resolve the 5 kinds of pain the brain knows. And Ed Corey, if I remember correctly, Ed has a Joy Stream coming up this Saturday. Is that correct, Denny?
Yes, this Saturday at 12 Eastern, so that means 9 a.m. for these California people. And it's going to be on attachments and food, a really popular topic.
Yes. I hope many of you will take advantage of this one. This is going to be a really good topic that's very relevant and what we're talking about with the Joy Starts Here book as well. So join Ed this Saturday. You can learn more at the thrivingrecovery.org website. Well, as much as I love to talk and I love to share these things, I think it's time for us to call it a day here. And I just want to thank Denny for her hard work and Dr. Jim Wilder for being here with us today.
My pleasure.
And I want to thank all of you for joining in. So may the Lord bless you. And may everybody go home and practice some appreciation and some joy and some of those 3-minute exercises that we introduced today.